Good evening. Notice of time, date, location, and agenda of this meeting to the extent known was provided at least 48 hours prior to the commencement of this meeting pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act. Notice of all meetings in 2025 was provided to the township clerk, posted on the township website, and provided to newspapers on December 26, 2024. An updated notice due to the change of location of this meeting was provided on April 1st, 2025, and published on April 10th, 2025. I would like to ask you all to rise to salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The purpose of the Millburn Special Improvement District is to promote, grow, and support local businesses, property owners, residents, and visitors, and to encourage the economic, cultural, and social vitality of the township through increased marketing and visibility, improved and renewed infrastructure, and local business development and engagement. Mr. Grillo, would you please take the roll call?
Yes, Madam Chair. Alexa Clark.
Here.
Alex McDonald. Here. Jackie Benjamin Lieberberg.
Here.
Ben Stoller.
Present.
Ashley Schultz. Richard Wasserman informed me he'll be a few minutes late. Stephen Weiner.
Here.
And Alex Zaltzman. Thank you. You have a quorum to proceed.
Thank you very much. At this point, I would like to have an approval of the minutes, the April 24th, 2025 public session, and the April 24th, 2025 closed session, attachment 1 and 2. May I have a roll call vote?
A motion and a second, please.
Motion. Sorry.
Second.
Alexa Clark.
Yes.
Jackie Lieberberg.
Yes.
Ben Stoller.
Affirmative.
Richard Wasserman. Ashley Schultz and Stephen Weiner.
Yes. Okay. Main Street America. So we had what I would say, a very enlightening day with the leadership team from Main Street America. I personally will tell you that for me, it was an engaging, productive day of innovation, ideas, and I think what is the most compelling thing is the tremendous resource and partnership that they offer to us now that we are part of that Main Street designation. What I think is also, it's not only, a Main Street, New Jersey, certainly, but it is Main Street America. And one of the women came from the Midwest and talked about her experience there. And it's just, we, as different as we are, we share a lot of similarities. And the ability to drive this partnership, I think, is going to be very productive and very compelling. The resources, the collaboration, the engagement that they offer, and I'm very, very excited about what lies ahead for us with this designation.
I was there, and I would say what struck me is they asked a lot of insightful questions, which brought to the table some real experience, and I think they're going to be great, like you said, resources as we need them. We can reach out, and they really see a lot that we don't have the perspective of. They see all these towns across America, so that's what I was. Also walking around the tour, I think they really enjoyed that. We showed them the town and did a walking tour, stopped in a few businesses, and I don't think they were faking. I think they truly enjoy getting to know all the towns on their roster. So that was fun.
I also think that what stands out to me is the concentration and the initiation for public art in all places. Whether we look at the art alley, or we walk to the parking deck, or our kiosk for our parking, we really have our legacy mural. Thank you, Vicki Powell. I think we've really made an effort and continue to expand those initiatives. And I really think the pots look beautiful, the flowers. I mean, it really, I will say, you know, the town really popped, and I was very, very proud, if you will, to be on that walking tour.
I think they took some selfies in front of the mural.
Yes.
Honestly, they paused and they were impressed.
And full disclosure, we're gonna, you know, really clean up that portion of Millburn Avenue between Main Street and Lackawanna. So it's all very, very exciting. Me personally, I'd like to see us, you know, maybe do something, if we can, with that walkway, that bridge, that footer pathway. At some point, we can, you know, look to maybe do something there as we, but that, you know, that's for a later date. Steve, Amanda, would you like to weigh in? Richard, when he gets in, he can weigh in as well.
Just briefly, I think, you know, it was a terrific visit. They got to meet with, so this is representatives from Main Street, New Jersey, as well as Main Street America. They met with Alex, the mayor, and Tim Hoffman. They also met with the executive board here. They met with about a dozen merchants that were involved in different volunteer capacities. So they had 3 different perspectives. Then we did a walking tour of the downtown. And then Amanda and I actually had about 2 hours with them to talk about some of the challenges that we face as an organization and as a community, and then talk about some of our ambitions over the next 5 years. We then parlayed that into our executive session last month, which was a training on some of the expectations related to Main Street, New Jersey, Main Street America, as well as thinking about how to grow the board and how to diversify the board, diversify some of our projects. So I think overall, and teaming that with the conference that we attended in early April, we've had a lot of really great education and a lot of really great support. So thank you all that participated in that day. It was a tremendous day for us.
Okay. America at 250. Do you want to talk about the art first, or you want me to just talk about that?
Do the art piece first. I'll talk about the.
Okay,
but
so,
your piece is
yes, okay, so if you go to this art packet, the last piece is something called Happy Birthday USA. And that is a piece that, this is the design concept. Michael Cooper, who did All Together Now, will be our artist in residence, if you will. And all those little squares, there was 6 by 6 inch squares, we are going to engage our diverse cultural groups. This is really a CETA initiative, complemented by this fact that it will be in downtown Millburn in the art alley. This will be a 12 by 12 foot. Do you have a copy, Mr. Seibert? This will be a 12 foot by 12 foot wooden board that will have a special paint, a special kind of marine paint that will endure the elements. The idea is also that afterwards that this will move someplace else, potentially, our new town hall, and live on. And the idea is to have our 30-plus nonprofit cultural groups all participate, anywhere from 6 to 8 squares, depending on the participation. The Historical Society, the Chinese Association, we have 30 groups, the Boy Scouts, the Muslim Association. There's 25 more that I'm not enumerating at this juncture. But that's the idea. Historical Society, as I mentioned, will also have a little bit of where on the bottom where it says Millburn Township, State of New Jersey, I'm hoping that they'll have a little history of the Township of Millburn on there. And this will be we'll have what I'll call workshops that'll take place at the Bauer Center over a series of weekends, with the instruction of Michael Cooper kind of leading them, and he's the one that will collect all these various parts, and then we'll mount them on the board. The nice thing about this, if in fact the elements affects one of these, well, I'll call them, they're, for argument's sake, tiles, but they're going to be part of, there'll be wood. If the elements, destroy one, we won't lose the whole mural. we can just replace the one part. So the staying power will be very compelling. If you notice the Dan Fenelon, we had some issues after Hurricane Ida. It did not withstand the elements, but we're hoping this will be more sustainable and quite frankly, beautiful. So that's what is planned. So it's really a collaboration of the Culture, Engagement, Diversity, and Arts Committee in the art space of the Art Alley. Does anybody have any questions before Steve continues?
I do.
Yes.
So it's a collage of tiles, wood tiles, whatever that will.
Yes.
The weather. What would the messaging be? I'm not sure.
The message is unity, love, engagement, participation.
It's gonna be a picture representation, are they gonna
Each,
write
they'll,
notes?
each tile will be a 6-inch tile, and the cultural groups will participate. They'll either have maybe a symbol of their whatever their group is, or one of those themes will be reflected in that artwork. And of course, we're going to be PG, nothing negative, hostile, controversial. That could be,
Well, it's subjective, right?
yes, but
It's
I
very
think,
subjective.
yes, but I think we can all agree what we find to be offensive.
Well, that's still, that would be for debate. Some people found the green tree studio offensive, and some people thought it was the First Amendment. But, I just don't want this to blow out of proportion, that it creates a bigger distraction than what the message of unity's gonna be. So I think it's how we manage it probably, right?
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Seeing none, Mr. Grillo.
Thank you. So Jackie, wears two hats in this situation. She has, she's the chair of the CETA group as well as the chair of Explore. So what she was talking about is the CETA portion of the America 250 celebration. Explore has its own project that we're working on. Alex McDonald and Maeve McGinley from the admin side are spearheading this effort with probably about 10 or 12 different groups, including the Historical Society, Boy Scouts, etc. Explore's responsibility is going to be connecting and promoting the township and our businesses with the World Cup, which is occurring in 2026. So the World Cup is actually the largest World Cup we've ever had. There's 48 teams instead of 32, which means a lot more countries, a lot more games, and a lot more opportunities for our businesses to benefit from, I guess, event-driven tourism. And so Amanda and I will probably bring to you a budget line for next year of working with an event consultant who has a lot of experience in these types of large-scale, long events. But we're looking at essentially 5 weeks of activities, including viewings on large screens like we did for movie nights, for certain high-profile games, offering businesses flags to put outside of their stores for the countries they're supporting, soccer programs, maybe taking a little practice into the streets, demos and things like that, and then just other general events and marketing that we're going to be tying in. And then, as I mentioned before, the World Cup final is at MetLife this year, and so there's going to be a lot of excitement in the northern New Jersey area, and so we want to certainly capitalize on that. So there'll be more to come on that, but I am working, and actually, as Stephen mentioned, I'm working with some folks at Main Street America on some of their large-scale event best practices. So things like the Olympics, and the World Cup hasn't been played here since '94. I think Alex was in that one. But just looking at how some communities, especially small towns like ours, can capitalize on these global events. So more to come on that, but it's a great group to be part of, and I want to just thank Alex and Maeve McGinley for putting it together, and we're excited to work on it.
You mentioned an event consultant, so is Explorer gonna hire, or is the town hiring a consultant?
Yeah, so when we develop our budget for next year, we'll include that budget line as part of our events and marketing. We've had a conversation with someone that we think is probably a really strong person to bring on, but it's a little premature right now.
I was
But-
gonna ask, is it like, what are the dates? Do you know?
So it's June and July
June and
of next
July.
year, so this would be something that we probably start working on in January.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we should start
work on that
this
before.
fall, yeah.
We can.
It's big, right? I mean,
Yeah.
It's gonna be huge, and we, Short Hills Hilton is gonna have a lot of the players staying there.
well, I was gonna ask, to
Yeah,
bring
yeah.
in a player and speak
That
at our closure or whatever.
So there's,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of opportunity
Yeah,
here, but.
Steve and I will go over and talk to the players on that.
Well, if you guys want me to engage with that individual earlier, I'm happy to do so.
My gut is yes, at least because time's gonna go by so fast in the 5 months leading up to the actual event.
Well, also, don't you think, I've seen what's happening with the July 4th, 2026 stuff, you want to engage these people sooner rather than later before they make other commitments, so my question would be, right? I'm just asking.
Just to give you a little bit of perspective, and Ms. Lieberberg is correct, like the reenactments are already going fast for July of next year. But, the viewing screens,
They'll go fast, yeah.
yes, they're already going. I think Newton has already secured one of them from Summit Sound, so, important to get that, maybe secured as fast as possible, for those viewing parties.
And we do have a vendor that we work with on those large screens, so I'll speak to them and see if we can reserve something.
Okay, great. Don't slow down. Okay. Do you want to go through the other things in the art packet?
Oh, no, that's for later.
Okay, great. Okay. Treasurer's report, Mr. Weiner.
Okay, thank you. Attachment number 3 in your package this evening is our traditional standard monthly financial report. As of April 30, I'll call out some of the highlights. As of April 30, our balance in the bank was $121,737 and change. However, a lot of money came in from the town, a little over $100,000 actually from the special assessment. So our balance on May 6th was $218,000, 260 plus change. So we've collected about 85% now of the special assessment. Right, the document reflects 44%, but quite a bit of cash has come in that interim. Also, just because there was that Main Street America conference that we had attended, not Steve and Amanda, we broke that out as a line item to better reflect the expenses associated with that conference. And then that's just a new line item here. We pulled the money out of our general operating budget. It was really for transparency and just to make it more clear. Amount spent to date of April 30 is $88,800. And we have another $292,000 plus to spend for the rest of the year. Any
Great.
questions?
All right, you ready for me?
Sponsorship.
Yeah, sponsorship, the financial report, attachment number
Okay.
4. Yep.
So, as tends to be, the report is already inaccurate. As of today, we have committed cash and in-kind of $39,750. In-kind is $5,000. Cash is $34,750. 26,000 of that is in the bank. And we got 3,000 of that deposited in the last 24 hours. So we're really doing great. When it comes to Girls' Night Out expenses, because that's the next one, sponsorship coming up, we've raised $9,250 in cash, $3,000 in kind. And let me just break that out real quick. 4,500 of that is already in, and then the remaining amount is due by June 4th. So that's going very well. The other things, we potentially, with my ambitions and goals, could raise another 30,000 or more, depending on the economy. So looking to try and do that. And we have plenty of things to support that, including we need to support our placemaking, events, marketing, and other things. So I think we're really off to a good start. Town Hall Plaza is next. We already have sponsors for that, so just looking to fill those remaining slots. Any questions?
Yeah, I just have one question. Do you happen to remember what Girls' Night Out sponsorships was last year? by chance?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay, but that number is dramatically bigger, yes?
Yeah, we only had, we had swag bag. Barnabas always comes through with 1,500 or 2,500 depending, and then we would have swag bag sponsors. But this year we had several other levels, and so I would say it's probably 30% or more higher this year.
Great. Congratulations.
Any other questions?
Just for the record, Amanda pointed out there's a typo in the agenda. It should say expenses through April 30th, not March 31st. I made a mistake.
Yeah.
I don't want any sticklers to.
That's a first. for
It is
Mr.
not a
Blau.
first. I make typos all the time.
You're right, good catch.
Okay, we have attachment number 5, which is the 2024 audit.
Yes. Steve, I gave Steve my copy that I had notes on, but, yeah, so, the draft audit, was received. Really, the bottom line is that it's a clean audit, that they had no questions or any issues with respect to, our numbers. So it's a draft only because we have to sign a few things, but, it all looks good, and I believe it was an attachment 5 in your package, so you can
Correct.
read it. Yep. So that's a good news. Always a relief, even though,
So my understanding is we need a voice vote to approve this audit for submission. Is that correct?
Correct. I think it's just good practice that we have a voice vote, that everyone's now been able to, has at least received a copy, and has been briefed. Stephen has to sign a representation letter, and then I'll submit this to our auditor as a final version, and then I send it to the Department of Community Affairs at the state, which all SIDS are required to do. So just a voice vote, just recognizing that this was presented this evening and you've all had a chance to review it.
Okay, may I have a voice vote to approve the attachment of the Millburn Short Hills Business Organization Financial Statement 2024 audit? All those in favor?
Motion in a second.
And then a voice
Yes.
vote. Okay, may I have a motion to support this audit?
motion.
Oh, motion, may I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Mr. Stoller?
Sure, thank you. So first order of business, I went to the opening of the Van Leeuwen Ice Cream Shop. I don't know if you guys saw that, but we had a line of nearly 300 residents and children. It just converged all on high school letting out, middle school letting out, and people being part of the excitement. But it was quite the uproar in town. We had cop cars out here and had to put out do not walk signs and things like that. But it was quite successful, and Ben Van Leeuwen, who I got to know, was very, very happy with the rollout. And also, too, we should call him regarding possible events at Township Plaza. They're right there, they're gonna have that back window open, but, you know, they're willing and happy to help. I think they're just overwhelmed with the feedback they're getting from town. Second, Memorial Day parade's coming up, May 26th, also known as my birthday, but we're gonna have a parade for Memorial Day. The Crown Marshal is Bernie Zen, he just turned 100 years old. We gave him a proclamation at the Township Committee. He's been in town for 62 years. All 4 of his kids have gone to the high school and graduated and all live somewhere here in Manhattan or in central Jersey, so he's gonna be a riot. Second, third, we did pass the ordinance for creating a temporary open container in Town Plaza for the summer, so that passed through final reading. That's put to bed, done. And there was also some discussion of doing something special for Anthony Braca, who everyone knows and recently passed away. Maybe some type of commemorative plaque or something in Township Plaza or the street, something along those lines. So we could probably talk about that offline. But there seems to be a lot of pushback or a lot of support for that, not pushback.
Yeah, I think, we'll take our direction from the township committee. So, I think from watching the meeting, it seemed like you guys had put a pin in what you actually wanted to do. But certainly when you get more clarity, just let us know.
Sure.
I-
And,
Sorry, I just to piggyback on that, I think it would be great to, dedicate, potentially dedicate the events that are taking place this year to Anthony. But-
yeah, I think we can iron it out what we want to do, but I just didn't want to surprise you at the end, so that's kind of why I'm giving a report. And then we also passed a resolution to reimburse the SID for legal fees for the BP one, for the Mr. Slattery's services. So that was passed. Now it was passed, there was some discussion regarding it, but it did pass unanimously, 4-0. We had one member that wasn't there last night, or Tuesday night.
Just, was it do you know the detail, reimbursement? So we pay the check and that get reimbursed, or does the town just pay the invoice? Because we do have an invoice.
I think it's a reimbursement. I don't think we have the ability to pay the invoice directly because it's not services billed to the township.
Okay.
You can let me know how to make this as easy as possible for you, and I'll do that.
So from that standpoint, that was done. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McDonald?
Just one brief report on town hall renovation as it relates to Town Hall Plaza festivities this summer. So currently, Town Hall is undergoing remediation for asbestos, lead, and other environmental materials. As you may notice, there's a trailer in the parking lot of Lot 5, which is not in the place that I was hoping they would put that. So we are looking to get that moved to the lower end of Lot 5, closer to Millburn Avenue, so that there's a clear path to Town Hall Plaza. We do anticipate that taking, a little bit into June, and maybe a little bit beyond, but obviously sensitive to what's going to be going on in Town Hall Plaza. So we'll be in communication with Amanda and Steve as that progresses. But we will certainly be working on getting that trailer moved to the lower part of Lot 5 to just create a nice path to Town Hall Plaza. So that's it.
And refresh my memory, opening day for Town Hall Plaza is?
It's June 20th, and then I'll go over details.
Great. Okay. Mr. Slattery?
Sure, good evening, everyone. So just a few status updates on the pending litigation. So for Bear Properties 1, if you'll recall, there's the prerogative writ bench trial took place, and the court had reserved decision and indicated it would take a month or more for a decision. We're still waiting on that. I think it's been about 6 weeks or so. Not terribly surprising. These are often lengthy opinions, and they have busy dockets, so I wouldn't read anything into it. But in the interim for Bear Properties 2, we filed our motion to dismiss, meaning the SID defendants. The township filed a motion to vacate its default, a motion to disqualify plaintiff's counsel, and a motion to dismiss. In the interim, plaintiff's counsel requested that the cases be consolidated, which the court granted, which effectively means that it's not totally clear if they're going to merge the docket numbers and make us file under the old Bear Properties 1. I think they may, but the cases are consolidated such that the same judge is going to hear BP 2 that heard BP 1. So the return date for our pending motion is currently June 6th. Obviously, motion dates change with some regularity, so for the time being, we'll pencil that in as our date to have our motion heard. Any questions on that before I move on?
I actually have just a procedural building question. So now that the cases are consolidated, that could potentially mean that you have to do additional filings.
Potentially, but so my representation is limited to the matter of Bear Properties 2, right? So there's nothing about this consolidation that reopens the Bear Properties 1, discovery or trial or makes us redo anything. So, that case is still open and pending, but the substance of that case shouldn't be affected by the judge hearing this.
Perhaps I could be more direct with my question. So, Committee Member Cosgrove, who did vote in favor of providing the reimbursement, stated that he was hoping that we would not come back asking for additional reimbursements. Perhaps what was left out of that discussion is that Bear Properties 2 has not been concluded. And Bear Properties 2, as you see, continues to be filed, and this litigation goes on and on and on. Is there the potential that there will be additional charges by your firm for work outside the scope? Because I think it's very, very important that the Township Committee understand that we obviously believe this is a frivolous lawsuit, yet we are continuing to have to pay for this frivolous lawsuit.
Yeah,
and I wanted
so-
to be clear about that.
So at minimum, no matter whether this case was consolidated, moved to a different judge, or what have you, there's still going to be an opposition to our motion by the plaintiffs, which I'll have to review and file a response called a reply brief where I respond to their arguments. And then on the motion return date, I'll have to appear and argue the case in front of the judge. At the very least, those fees will have to be incurred. If there's more beyond that, it may depend on how complicated and entangled things get beyond that point. For instance, if our motion is denied and the case moves forward to a full briefing, we'll have to effectively do that all over again several months down the line.
And so assuming that the Township Committee is not going to support additional payments, the legal fees that we have to pay to defend against this case are coming out of the pockets of property owners, business owners, and residents.
To the extent that they don't come from the township, they will come from your budget lines.
Okay, so that's money that we can't spend on services.
Correct.
Okay, it's very important that I think that we establish that we have a finite budget. It's not intended to be spent on legal fees, especially for frivolous cases. Nonetheless, we're forced to do it.
Yeah, and I'll add my very minor editorial that I've billed as lightly as I possibly can on it with the fact that, this is an unexpected expense for you in mind.
Yeah, and let's not kid ourselves, it's all coming out of the money's fungible, it's all coming from taxpayers, or it comes from
One way or
TC
another.
or from the Explorer. What I think the big difference is monies that have been put aside to help the economic stimulus
Vitality.
of our community.
Yes.
And provide programming for the community is being taken away from.
What did the resolution say from the township? Was it a dollar cap? I haven't read it yet.
It was what was requested, yes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
There's nothing precluding us from asking again, but I'm not sure that we would have the votes to secure it. But that doesn't mean that Bear Properties 2 goes away.
Right.
So it is a bit of a catch-22. But it could come to the end of the year where, when it comes to the winter villages, we don't have money to pay for those services
Or I'm thinking that event consultant for next year, for the
because we're spending it on
for the
litigation.
World Cup.
So the last piece, unless there are any other questions, I'll move to the last item here, which is the Township SID Review Committee. I was asked by the committee members to provide some dates to get a meeting with the Executive Committee. My schedule hasn't really allowed for that in the past couple weeks, but I anticipate that June I will have some more flexibility the first few weeks, and if not, we'll meet shortly after that. So we'll sit down with the committee members, discuss their ideas for changes and give our feedback on it, and then hopefully work collaboratively on putting something together in the near future.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Slattery from the dais? Okay, seeing none, we're going to continue. Marketing and events. Amanda Dean.
All right, so Steve, myself, and our new hires, Corinne and Zach, we sat down and kind of did a little postmortem of Restaurant Week and talked about successes, about things that could improve, and kind of what direction we want to take in 2026. So overall, we feel everything was incredibly successful, especially the marketing. But we want to simplify things. up until this point, we've allowed places to do anything they're really willing to do, whether it's a percentage off or a complimentary dessert or other things like that. And it's become a lot of options. And I think it's easier to simplify that. A lot of other restaurant weeks, they do essentially prefixes for other things. So what we would like to do in 2026 is simplify and do prefix options and flights. And that could be, are any of you familiar with flights? Okay. If you're not, you order an appetizer, it's 3 small ones, that kind of thing, or desserts, it's 3 or 4 of them, depending. And then doing that, I think it's going to make it easier for restaurants to participate because they're not trying to think up something to do. It'll also be easier to market to people because they understand what those terms mean. And I think it'll be easier to manage as well. So that's what we're looking to do. Our goal is to have 20-plus restaurants participate next year. We also want them to make money. A lot of places, they do small percentages off because they don't have the money to give, right? Others will do complimentary things. Some people, they're reluctant to promote they're doing complimentary because, again, they're giving away product. So having prefixes and flights, you're not giving anything away. You're determining a price. People are paying for that. The deal is the experience and the offerings. So we've been looking at this from all different angles. And to me, with running Restaurant Week, getting these 20-plus restaurants, it's been a building process. This was our 3rd one this past March. It's a process with the restaurants. I think they're the most complicated sector to work with because they have the most staffing generally. Staffing changes. When you stop by to talk to someone, you get a different person each time. A lot of people don't check their email. So there's just a lot of layers to that event to get people to participate. And then the experience is the second part of that, which is some places post that they're doing something, some don't. Some print menus, some don't. Some forget to tell their staff they're participating. So we want to really concentrate on the quality of the event and the experience and really guiding and making sure that those that do participate, they participate to the full extent. So I don't know if I'm missing anything, Steve. Any questions or comments? I'm sure we could talk about this another time, but we just wanted to kind of sit down and hash that out while it was still fresh.
Are you going to run some kind of workshop for the restaurants or what do you think about, or it's premature, but do you think you would, give them suggestions or?
We always give suggestions, whether it's myself or an intern or, Corinne or Zach go in. We do in general with events, do a lot of thinking for people because their minds are so involved in every other aspect of their business. So absolutely, we can help them be creative. I think getting to people in the fall, letting them know this is the direction we're going to be taking. But I feel like, honestly, with the restaurants, they're usually like 2 weeks out mentally from things. It's like, I don't know.
I really think Restaurant Week should only be a dinner prefix or the flight what you're talking about. Like, unfortunately, delis, even my business, probably shouldn't be a part of it. Like, it should only be strict restaurants. And I think maybe, like, to help them out, you could even print out, like, menus of their menu and give them to the restaurants. So they could hand those with them, the menus, That's just my opinion. I really think it should be streamlined, honestly.
Yeah, since we're doing opinions, I mean, New York City is right across the river. Restaurant Week is one of the biggest weeks they have out in New York City. I mean, I can't wait till Restaurant Week because you get to eat all
But
the
it's all
places you want.
it's all fixed price menu. You kind of sit
Yeah.
down and
Correct.
hear, what
Well,
menu
get a
do you?
deal.
That's
You get a deal.
that's
Yes.
where I'm going, but
Yes.
I don't think the training's too hard, and I think we have a lot of good restaurateurs here in town. If there's a guideline for them to do, then we just have to tell them what they need to do. I can, and I think it should be open to everything, you get a cookie for 30% off.
I know, it's
Something like that.
But you could,
it gets confusing.
It's just
I
confusing.
think we have, I think part of it is they want to simplify it.
Right.
For
Yeah.
people.
Right,
So,
right.
So for a bakery, or for a small
Or a
business.
cookie flight.
It's
Right.
not it's not a overwhelming, oh my God, I have to put together 3 or 4 things. It has to be like something very simple, a simple offering that will benefit, with the benefit.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna just add, we have the opportunity to sort of ask them to theme it up for America 250 or World Cup, right? So we're talking, is it March? What is the?
Yeah, it's usually the third or fourth week in March. We try and do it when the paper mill is dark,
Right.
to bring additional people in.
I mean, I feel like that whole year we should be thinking about the huge events coming up, so, I don't know, a flight, but maybe a red, white, and blue flight of something. I
Right.
don't know, just fun, but
Around the
tied to,
world, in Millburn, like around the world.
sure.
Well, we certainly have enough cultures and cuisines
Yeah.
to really
Yeah.
play into that. And to your point, it could be cookie flights, it could be coffee flights, it could be, so it doesn't, I mean, we can talk more, Lex, but I think people aren't excluded, but I think we can definitely sit down and hash this out more. But the workshop part and the instructions, we do provide. I think it's just we have to keep pushing them. And like you said, even at this point, we may just need to provide people with printed menus.
Yeah.
You know, I can get their logos, I can do that. We can't account for changes, like, that's where things get tricky. It's the details. But I think streamlining, simplifying is only gonna improve this for everybody. So, any other questions or comments?
How, do you, from the marketing aspect, we hire an influencer for Restaurant Week, okay, 10.
Yeah.
So what do you, is there, so we have a fixed we have costs associated with the engagement of diners and participants. So maybe there's a way to look at that and see if there's a way to maybe support the restaurants more directly with resources with respect to the menu. I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't know, maybe we speak to a food, not a Balducci's, what's it called? Baldor, or one of the suppliers. Or maybe we have some kind of special cup, or maybe with the Explore logo that we're going to distribute to these restaurants that indicates the partnership between Explore that would
Or something.
that would have our Explore logo, that would make it easier for them to execute the offering. It's 3 cups, I'm just thinking out of the box. It's 3 cups, they'll have our Explore, and they can put whatever they want in the 3 cups, but we're giving them the receptacle, if you will, to execute whatever the special item is.
I think, so this event up until now has been, I would say 95% marketing.
Right.
Besides all the footwork, on the boots on the ground and support we do. So, putting more of an itemized budget together, including these other ways of support, whether it's printing or other things, I think is a good way to approach it. Anybody else?
I'm thinking about tying it in. Sorry,
It could
it's
be,
World
I
Cup.
mean, it could be 3 soccer balls, little,
Well,
yeah,
I'm
or-
thinking 40, if there's 48 teams, or we have the opportunity to hoist 48 flags in Taylor Park as a kickoff part of Restaurant Week, have some event saying like, this is the season. I know it's
Right.
March, but like, it's only a few months later, and it just feels like we could consolidate that really well and make it a consistent theme or something.
Yeah, I see what you're trying to do, but I think Restaurant Week should have the energy within itself to sustain. It's an opportunity for people to go out to eat at restaurants they may not be going out to eat, to enjoy some of the flights, 3 different choices off the menu. Maybe they're not
Yeah.
full portions or quarter
Right,
portions, and
normally
they
it
have
wouldn't
3
be.
of them.
Yeah.
So they could try and try that. I think if there's work to be done, it's probably, and as you suggested, in the leading up to it and the communication and education of the restaurant and of the general public on what they're gonna get when they go to generate that enthusiasm.
Yeah, and I think it'll be easier with the general public because they're used to some of those options at least at other restaurant weeks.
Yeah, I think, conflating the 3 cups or balls, I wasn't following, but whatever, conflating that with Restaurant Week, I think is just gonna be very, very confusing.
Well, I think the big takeaway from our meeting
Yeah.
was, first off, some events just don't hit. We've had events that just didn't resonate.
Right.
Some events ran out of steam. I think we did Founding Day for 3 years, and it kind of had run its course. And so we said, all right, enough. I think Restaurant Week still has a ton of steam. And I presented the social media data at our last meeting, and this March was our greatest social media month in the history of the organization. It's not a coincidence, right? It was designed that way. And so we were hugely successful in that respect. My concern is making sure that the brand identity can remain strong, not only a brand identity of Restaurant Week, but of Explore. And I think when we have diluted product and we can't manage the product, that concerns me in terms of long-term. And so, Lex's comment, whether it's that exact recommendation or something like it, I think is important to say, when I go to Restaurant Week in Millburn, I know that I'm getting these price-fixed dinners, or I'm getting these flights, because 10% off a cup of coffee is 30 cents. And that's not really something that we want to be involved in, right? And I think one of the hardest things about working just as a bid, whatever size you are, is you try to make the tent large enough for everyone to participate,
right.
which we've done. And now I think we found out that some restaurants or food service establishments probably aren't suited for this. And so we can make that's an empirical decision, right? We have data now. We can make that decision. So I think we're all heading in the right direction. And I think part of this also will be part of that Main Street America discussion of getting you guys more involved in the event planning and strategy.
Right, but no one wants to lock somebody out who wants to be in it. You say bakery, Splurge, I know is gonna be in it all the way through. They have their specials, they bring the kids, they have their customers for 20 years who want to go in and they wanna participate versus Taste Buddy.
But if we set up a structure and we say, all right, like flights, okay,
Yeah, but
Execute.
there has to be buy-in.
More
Yeah.
guidelines.
But there has to be buy-in, and if people, and I think that if there's some businesses that don't wanna buy in, I think what I'm hearing is that we don't want somebody doing it if they're not gonna do it. or if
Right, and
they're
that's
gonna go halfway.
communication and education.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody, maybe not everybody's equipped to offer the prefix or whatever. And I think for us, we want people that really wanna do it and want buy-in and want, the social media that they're gonna get from it. But we need the buy-in from our businesses, and we don't want, I think it's gonna hurt everybody if it's just somebody doesn't come through with whatever our offering is.
Yeah.
And it's on education and communication of not only the customers or the residents that will be coming or any customers, but of the proprietors and of the influencers on how you bring it all together. I hate over-regulating anything, but, thematic, we're doing flights. Offer 2 cookies and a coffee.
It doesn't mean you
Whatever.
can't do a free flight. You guys have been doing free tastings, right?
Yeah.
So, I think this will actually make it easier for people to participate. But, we can spend more time on this at another point. I'm glad everyone's thinking about it. So we appreciate your feedback. Okay, can I move on to Girls' Night Out? Okay, so I'm gonna try and be brief, but honestly, I don't think it's possible. If anyone did not get a poster, we've done several rounds of giving out posters. I have some here. So they're all over town. So this event is the biggest Girls' Night Out event we've ever done. The participation is astounding. We have over 60, let me start from the top. Hold on. Just as a reminder, it's on June 5th from 5 to 8 p.m. And the theme is Disco Inferno. It's in downtown Millburn. However, outer districts can participate, and they are. We have over 60 businesses participating. In Lot 1, we will have 15 pop-ups, not including our tents, of businesses doing, whether it's giveaways, free services, you name it. So it's going to literally be a pop-up village. We'll also have a DJ there, an Explore Welcome tent and the Explore Swag tent, and a selfie wall with a dedicated photographer. That person will be collecting people's contact information, zip codes and everything, and then sending them those photos. So that's going to be a significant way we gather information. We have live dance performances by Hala Dance Studio, which is a new studio in town. They're going to be performing in front of Gansha Tea and the wine shop. And then they will also be having a free walk-up Zumba class there. We're going to have drag queen performances next to Haagen-Dazs with a DJ. DJ LeBrock, the little kid, who's probably 10 now, we'll have him in the courtyard. And then we'll have street giveaways, disco-themed decoration throughout the downtown. This year, we're doing 200 swag bags. They are going to have custom branded bags this year. They're going to be gorgeous with all the sponsors and our branding and everything. They will be first come, first serve at Lot 1, and we're going to open that 10 at 4:30 p.m. Over 20 businesses are participating in the swag bags, from lip balm to sunglasses to gift cards. There's over 15 shopping promotions. They range from spend $50 and get a complimentary crystal bracelet to surprise promotions, raffles, and then some people have small bites, treats, and sips as well. There are over 10 raffles, games, and giveaways. They range from a wellness basket to a 1-month free gym membership to spin to wins. There are 10 complimentary experiences. They range from free chair massages to a pure bar class to cold plunges. 10 experiences for purchase, from cake decorating to glam and glow mom packages to charcuterie board making. Dining specials range from complimentary desserts to happy hour specials. Just to go over the marketing for this event, which is it's expanded and different with Restaurant Week. We have our banner up, our posters are out. We're going to have clings on the parking kiosk shelters for Girls' Night Out, A-frame signs and other wayfinding and things. The website is the place to go. Everything is on there. We've broken it down by category. There's PDFs you can download by section or for the whole event. There is a page dedicated to the businesses that are participating and about, and then like that detailed section I mentioned. I have several updates I need to make tomorrow, and then it'll be current. We have done several and will continue to do dedicated e-blasts to our over 3,000 subscribers. We have another one going out tomorrow. Event listings, we have been in the patch since May 14th. Paid event listings to 20 surrounding communities. And we're also in Tap Into event listings, Mommy Poppins, Jersey's Best, Nextdoor, Reddit, Eventbrite, Happy Millburn, like the list goes on. This year we did a Facebook event, which I think was a really good idea. We've been in the Mayor's Message, Miller Mail, social media. We normally don't do a lot for this event, but the committee wanted to do so, and so we have done that. We hired Jessica Chews again. She's doing 5 reels for us, 4 pre-event ones to promote what's going on, and she will attend the event and then do a recap reel. We are also working with NJ Hipsterbia. They are doing 2 reels that are promoting the shopping promotions themselves. So we're trying to give everybody some attention. And then I encourage you to go onto our Instagram account. Steve, AKA, is it John? Tony Monero made his first appearance yesterday. We're doing a Saturday Night Fever series.
Like to hear.
It's all mine.
And so that's been going over very well. Posted another one today.
You two could have a white polyester suit.
Yes.
I just look like my father. That's all it was.
In the 70s.
He's like my father in 1977.
I just saw a lot of hair.
Yeah, so that's what Explore staff are doing. Travolta, next week, we're gonna concentrate on Ron Burgundy. And we've been doing other specials and business features and just general event information. So that combined with the influencers and everything else, we're really, really pushing. We have also been pushing for volunteers. I've invited our volunteer list. We're working through the Key Club, the Mamas and Minis group, and then we're going to be posting to Work Moms and Happy Millburn and to our social media account. I will email those volunteer opportunities to all of you. So if you're around and want to help out, we welcome that. I want to acknowledge again the committee. So Vicky from Shala's, Jean from SLT My Skin, Kelly from Real Style Exchange, Rupali from Spotless Dry Cleaners, and then Nadej, local resident and property owner. And then I already went over the sponsorship, but in brief, we have 14 individual sponsors for this event, including in kind. And Richard, we do have a sponsor for the website. It's Design Hub. There is a banner on the top of each Girls Night Out page. So I hope,
How much was that?
it was $250.
Okay,
It's a start.
it's better than nothing? I
Yeah,
like it.
and I think it looks really nice. And then I believe Live Breads has booked that for Town Hall Plaza, and I think it's $750. I'd have to double check.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
It's all good.
So you-
It's a good beginning.
So yeah, so check that out.
Great.
That's the event in a nutshell. But I encourage you to go on our website and check Instagram. Any quick questions?
Any idea on participation? Do people sign up?
So we're not doing pre-registration this year. It's kind of turned into a lot to manage the day of with who gets what because they pre-registered, and then the people that didn't pre-register are complaining because they're there. And so that's why we're doing the swag bags, first come, first serve, and that's why we're doing the photographer. I'm sure you've seen these at events where they're taking pictures of people and then emailing them photos. So that's gonna be our capture.
Right. Are we gonna email, like, I think, we do have an email list of people we capture?
Yeah, so
Oh,
we have all the people that have attended the Girls' Night Out for the last 3 years.
And are they gonna get an email?
They've already been getting, all of the people that have signed up for our email list, all of the Girls' Night Out past participants, they all get every e-blast we send.
Okay, and just a schedule of those emails, like, how, is there a frequency, or when it?
We're doing one a week right now, which is a lot for a dedicated one on an
Sure,
event.
sure.
And then we'll do a couple the week of.
Yeah, my suggestion is, just from my experience, you wanna also send out it kind of as a reminder, like the day, kind of like the day before. You know, right before the event, you wanna make sure you hit,
Right, absolutely.
right before, so people, reminder.
For folks who may be coming from out of town for this event, are
Yeah.
there any road closure or access issues that we
No-
should be aware of?
No, and we will be putting out, sending out to everyone, recommended places to park and things like that. We've already been working with the police on having crossing guards, which we've done in the past. There'll be a policeman in the area for the event. And then I honestly just have to go over and measure because of 15 pop-up tents, we're gonna have to take a little more of lot one than normal. So, other than that, it's kind of business as usual with this event. Any other questions?
I think we should try to drive as many people as possible to the parking deck. Is Paper Mill in session that night?
Yeah,
Right, so the parking deck, I think, will be our best bet.
Yep.
Because they'll be very, you may have some unhappy Paper Mill
Well,
participants.
yeah, I would just let the police department know, maybe they can put up the variable message boards directing people to the parking, like just event parking.
Sure.
You know?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. And let's put that in the mayor's message, too.
yeah, we'll get, when we get a little closer.
Yeah,
Those are kind of the things.
So that's
things you
next
need.
week's message,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
wow.
Any
It's
other-
next week's message, yeah.
Any other questions?
Sounds great.
Okay, I think now I can turn to Town Hall Plaza. This is very brief. Opens June 20th, which is a Friday, and it's going to run through the 31st of August. We will again have live music Friday and Saturday nights. We're going to have several special small events. Some that are planned already is a movie night again. Home Instead's going to sponsor that again. Circus evenings for kids. The Mamas and Minis group is going to have a lunch and learn. They've already engaged several local businesses to participate in that. The Millburn Autism Alliance is going to be doing a sensory party, and there's more to come on that. Plus, we'll be doing more of an outreach soon to just anyone that wants to sign up, whether it's the chess club or somebody else. Public consumption, I'm glad that passed. I was going to ask about that. The food court will be returning. We are working on updates for this space and some kind of adjustments of the layout, taking into account the things that are happening to the building itself. So I think we're in good shape there, and we'll be able to pivot if need be. I'm just working on sponsorship recruitment, signing, signage, branding. We're going to do a lot more branded items there, whether it's crowd barriers or on the different gazebos, things like that. So you will know where you are and who's supporting the event and how to contact us. Steve, I don't know if you have anything you want to add?
Did the food vendors pull power from Town Hall? I remember
Yes,
some.
and that's
Is that
still
available
accessible.
during?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be accessible until actual work is done, so.
Yep, we met with Tim yesterday. I know we're going to have another meeting, and then we're going to have a meeting with DPW, which we always do to just flesh out everything, make sure everyone's on the same page.
In the past, they were, if their performers needed to use the restroom, they would go in, are you going to have a?
There's going to be one.
Porta-john or-
One accessible porta-john, just because it was not used very much last year, but the bands used it and periodically people with little kids.
Yeah.
The fact that there will be no restroom available to us, we can't bring anyone into the building, so.
Right.
So that should be in the works. I talked to Tim about that yesterday.
Okay.
Can I just make a
Yeah.
suggestion that maybe with the autism event, or in any way, if you can ask or incorporate the community policing unit
Sure.
in some way, wherever it makes sense. I think it's a good opportunity for them to get out there and also promote some of the programs that they're doing.
Yeah, have the trucks front and center.
Okay.
Yes, so you can be deputized.
Yeah. Great.
Okay, anything else? All right, I think I'm done for now, sorry.
No, well done. All right, it's my report. I have a fairly
Executive Director report, Mr. Grillo.
Thank you. I have a fairly short report this evening. Our usual new businesses, closed businesses. So we actually just came from the grand opening of Raquel Stein Interiors. If you'd pass that around, she actually provided a lovely email to us. Alex and I helped her with a delivery container that was a surprise for them logistically. And so she said, I just want to read briefly. First of all, I want to sincerely thank you for all the help with our container situation. You truly went above and beyond. And it means more than you can imagine. We are also so grateful for the support you've offered us so far. I'm already feeling incredibly happy and welcome to be part of the Millburn community. There's something so special about the sense of connection here. And when Jackie and I were at the ribbon cutting a few moments ago, she reiterated that as well to the mayor, that she just feels like this is a terrific community. So thank you to Alex and the police department. We all worked as a team to coordinate that storage container. We have one last ribbon cutting. I feel like I've done literally, I think, about 7 in the last month.
Yeah.
But we have another ribbon cutting. It is going to be for Sugaring NYC. They've been open about 6 months, but they finally got corporate approval to do their event. That's going to be, they're next to Bhakti Barn at the Spring Street and Millburn intersection. Friday, June 20th, 5 p.m. If that night sounds familiar, that's because it's opening night of Town Hall Plaza. So we wanted to combine that. You can go to that event and then walk right over to Town Hall Plaza opening night. So that's Sugaring NYC, Friday, June 20th at 5 p.m. Thus far this year, we've had 15 businesses open, including 6 since our last meeting. Skin Spirit replaced Her MD, which they went out of business nationally. They lost all of their stores. So that's in the Wyoming Business Center. I mentioned Raquel Stein. Ship Short Hills opened on Upper Millburn Avenue. We just did a nice video with them last week. Millburn Wellness Center is on Essex Street. We actually sent over Zach Minter, who's now one of our part-time folks. They don't have an Instagram page. They did not know about the NJEDA free website program, so he onboarded them with all that, which was great because normally that's something Amanda and I have to do. Now we have another set of hands. Of course, Van Leeuwen Ice Cream, which Ben just mentioned, and then Healthy Organic Juices, which is a excellently descriptive name for what they sell, replaced Green Nectar Market, which was Tara Prupas's business. Tara has moved out of state, sold the business to actually one of her longtime employees. I think she's been there 11 years now. So it's a different business in terms of name, and owner, but it is the same business and the same products. So we encourage people to support them. So that's kind of a one-for-one swap. Closed businesses, we've had 7 close compared to 15 that opened. 4 since our last meeting. So Green Door Studio is going out of business. They're closing at the end of the month. They'll be relocating to a neighboring town. I mentioned Green Nectar Market, Common Lot, did go out of business earlier this month. And then Professional Audio Consultants. Ralph Tarnofsky was the owner there for many, many years. He's retired, and so the business, the space is now for lease. But he definitely, I think he was probably here 30-plus years. And one of the first folks that I met was the chamber president for a long time. And I think within the first couple of weeks that I was working here, I met with him, and he was a really great ambassador for the community and made me feel very welcome as part of the SID and part of the chamber. So wish Ralph all the best in his retirement. We have 7 businesses that are currently under some phase of construction. The old Aqua Spa, right? The Aqua Spa, what was it called? 533 Millburn Avenue. It's never been anything since I've been here, but it looks. It's next to, well, it's sort of, next to Lash Love and Tiger Schulman. They've just gotten approval for a men's clothing retailer. Urban Scoop Ice Cream is going to be in the middle unit at the Futter Building. I'm expecting them to be open by mid-June. I've been working with them very closely. They've filed all of their health and construction permits, so things are going well. Also, 2 new ones that are going to be coming on later on. The Shade Place, which is on Upper Millburn Avenue, they're transitioning out of that space, and a similar business, Metropolitan Window Fashions, is going to be moving in. Spoken to those folks, they seem really excited to be here. And then we have an interesting business called Gather that's coming in at the corner of Lackawanna and Millburn. That's the Envision. If you think about it, if you're standing at the entranceway to Taylor Park and look across the street, Wine Boutiques to your left, and there's a white sort of building to the right. They're relocating to a more industrial space. They don't really need a retail space anymore. So we have a tenant coming in. It's going to be very, very exciting. It's more of a kind of a, how do I describe it? Lifestyle brand, home living, kind of, I don't know, not a flea market, that's not the right word, but kind of a eclectic type of store. Curated, perhaps is the word. So we've got 7 of those in process, and obviously I assist as those businesses need with different permits and things, but things have been going very well. Update on street cleaning and Morris Turnpike. So at our last meeting, the board authorized me to proceed with the contract with Affordable Building Services to provide services related to the multi-district sidewalk cleaning that we do every year, and that was tied in with the Morris Turnpike hardscaping project. It's a $24,000 project. The town allotted in their budget $20,000 for that, and then $4,000 from us. And so I've taken care of all of the contracts, submitted all of the payment documents to accounts payable for the town's portion. So we're looking good. The schedule, it will begin on May 30th and go through September 7th. That's a total of 14 weeks of street cleaning. Downtown will be 2 times a week plus every Saturday morning. The focus on Saturday mornings is Town Hall Plaza, obviously for the traffic we get there. Upper Millburn Avenue is going to be cleaned once a week, Short Hill Station twice a month, and then the Wyoming Business Center and Morris Turnpike once a month. But a piece of that is also doing the hardscaping work on the stone. We'll be replacing some of the stone that was, had attrition during the winter, and then depending on what's left in the budget, potentially putting more stone in and creating a larger part of that project. So we're all set to go there, and the company's been terrific to work with. Public art, so you all have your packets right here. So spring is our usual time for public art projects. We've been very busy with it. So this year we focused on the Millburn Art Alley. For those of you who probably recall, we actually had 3 projects come down last year. One was the piece on Goldberg's that was done by the owner of Green Door Studio. We know that story. So that needed to be replaced. And then the Thai House put windows where our murals used to be. So we needed to deal with that. So piece 1, and they go in order in your packet, is called Choose Love. This was designed by Chris Kurzina, who is the owner of Goldberg's Deli with his wife Yvonne. He is an amateur artist. And so he actually, he wanted to do something in response to the controversy that he felt over the Green Door Studio piece that was taken down. And so he actually used ChatGPT to help him write a poem, which he thought was fairly modern and interesting. And so what you see here is there is a book. We installed a Welcome to Millburn Art Alley sign, which he designed to look like Sesame Street. And then this book with a photo that he took and the poem that he wrote. And it's actually really cool. The company that made it beveled the wood by hand.
Oh, wow.
So it's 3D, and it looks like it actually comes out about 12 inches when you look at it from the front. But if you go to the side, it only comes out about 2 inches. So it's a really cool visual, and Chris has been sending me his security camera photo from the alleyway. And he's probably had 15 different people in the last 2 days stop and take pictures of it and read it. So a nice story there. And so we covered that cost through our Essex County Public Art Grant. He installed two other pieces using his own funds. The first one is on page 2 here. It's a picture of the original Goldberg's Deli truck. And then he superimposed it over downtown Millburn. And so he put that on that back fence where it's pretty unsightly, so that's a nice improvement. And then the third piece, he took a picture of Adam Sandler when he was here last summer, and then superimposed him standing in the street. He was not next to that downtown Millburn Explore banner, but he superimposed it, and now Adam Sandler's giving ready the peace sign in downtown Millburn. So a cute little whimsical piece. Finally, as part of the art alley improvements, as you can see on the next page, we redeployed 5 of the mill wheels that we'd used last year. We see public art as a great way to engage multicultural organizations. So we selected 5 organizations. We put in some more seating, cleaned up the area after the winter, and there's actually a really cute picture of the owner of the House Salon's dog riding in one of them. And so, you didn't see that one, I didn't tell you that one. And then another piece that we did, Amanda did a great job organizing this. We wanted to get the parking deck to be a bit of an ambassador itself. Obviously, a lot of people use the parking deck to shop and visit. So we put in 3 installations, one on each floor as you come down the elevator. So one is focused on public spaces, another is focused on small businesses, and then another is focused on events like Restaurant Week, Halloween, etc. And this is something that is really scalable for us. So we can add more businesses, add more sites. This is, we'll continue to do this year after year. And again, this was funded by Essex County. And just one final item that I do want to mention, continuing the good news. I did get our contract from Main Street, New Jersey for the $150,000 that we had won. I signed that, sent it back to the state. They'll execute it. And then once they do that, we will receive $75,000. We'll set up a separate bank account for this specific project, and then they pay $75,000 at the conclusion of the project. And I'll work with Alex, Tim, the engineering department, and then we're going to actually have my first meeting next week to talk with a business owner about some of their visions for what that sidewalk can look like. So I'm going to work and try to get some collaborative input on how we can improve that sidewalk. But the money should hit us relatively soon by Department of Community Affairs standards. But it's all moving in the right direction.
Quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. The contract that was signed, did we review it? Like what did the contract look like?
It's a boilerplate that all the applicants have to sign from the state. There's really no choice, no negotiation. Just
No, I know.
I did not share it with Tom though, but I can.
Okay. Yeah, please.
Okay.
Please do. Thank you.
And-
And the sidewalk, I'm sorry, Chair.
Go ahead.
The sidewalk, just state again where the sidewalk is that we're gonna start,
It's both sides of the street on Millburn Avenue from Main Street to Lackawanna.
Main Street to Mecca, okay. Got it.
And do you have any kind of timetable? You thinking September or later? Later.
It's going to depend on a lot of factors, but we have till August of 2026 to complete the project.
Okay.
So we have a lot of time.
So maybe post-summer. when it's-
So we
Yeah.
should think about, I want to talk to you about interest-bearing banking. If they were going to get 75 and just have it sit for many months?
It could.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk.
I think we
yeah.
should, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know when that money's going to be deposited. It takes them quite a long time to do
Oh.
these paperwork, so I'm kind of feeling my way through it, but yeah, I think we can figure that out.
I think also this is, part of this is the connection to the Taylor Park frontage project, that we are anticipating going out to bid for within the next month or so, to have started over the summer. We wanted to avoid July 4th. We want to, try to avoid as much park time as possible. And get into the planting season in the fall when we're looking to plant. So, I think that's sort of the connection here is, the space in between those two.
Gotcha.
And if you, with the funds, I think we should check with Matt Laracy or someone before we do put them in something, obviously not Bitcoin or the market or anything, just something very safe and secure.
No, of course, yeah, and I have tax questions about it as a nonprofit, how is that treated for tax returns and things as well?
Yeah.
I just hate seeing that money sit at, now we have a couple $100,000 sitting there, no interest, just sitting there.
Why is that, because it's a commercial account, is that?
Yeah, we had talked to M&T, and they don't have interest-bearing accounts for nonprofits, so. But we have this, it's strange, right? So like, the money doesn't stay in there all that long, right? And so like a 6-month CD doesn't do anything for us. But Stephen and I have talked kind of offline about some things, but I think this might be, we'll have a lump sum now sitting in there. But then it depends because the township, right, is gonna be the one that's actually contracting with the vendors, right? So they'll have to bill us to pay them back.
Right,
Right,
because
so
we're
it's-
cutting the checks.
Right, so the way
Yeah.
that the state contract works, the town, right, is the
Recipient.
recipient, but we are the funding conduit. And so we can't touch the money, right? The township has to execute all of its standard state contracts for vendors, et cetera, and then essentially invoice us and we write them a check. So,
Is there any need for a motion, like any kind of minutes, record keeping around this relationship? We get invoices from the town. It's a first that I don't recall that, we've never done that flow
So,
previously.
I think-
Except for some grants.
I
That's
think
small.
generally with grants, sometimes they'll ask for reports, like a quarterly report on your grant progress. And those are usually done through the Sage system.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna assume that this grant will also be done through the Sage system.
Yep.
So, so they'll usually ask for a report, which could be, which is a lot based on the relationship that's going on between the two
Is
entities.
that
And SAGE is an acronym for state.
Good question.
Oh,
for
okay.
the single worst state grant
Yes,
portal in
and
the
there's
history
like
of the world.
6 of them, and you have to know which one you're using. And no, but it's just their grant portal.
Okay.
Right.
And that's
So-
obviously my responsibility is to make sure that we're uploaded to everything, and that's what I've been spending a bit of time this week dealing with.
I also want to suggest, you do such great social media, especially lately. I think it'd be great to make sure that we do social media on our street cleaning.
Yep.
That people
Of course.
probably don't know anything about, that we're gonna help explore is helping with that. And also with the sidewalks, with our $150,000 grant.
Maybe we get Tony Monero falling down on
We need
broken brick.
We need Tony Manero helping the
Staying alive.
cleaners
Yes,
clean,
yes.
and then working on the sidewalk.
That suit doesn't breathe, though. Very cheap, no good.
But
But
that would be great.
I'd use a photo of the check when we finally get it
Yeah,
from the state.
A
right?
photo, yeah.
Post that for-
We should make sure our neighbors.
We
know-
absolutely will.
Should make sure our neighbors know all the good work.
And then just the last thing, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but you guys have a presentation which I would love for you to review between now and our June meeting. Obviously, there's a lot of concern right now in terms of the impact that potential tariffs may have on small businesses. It's a very undetermined result right now. And so we wanted to get ahead of that. And so what we've created is what we think is a very user-friendly overview of how to manage your business in the potential economic recession or financial challenges. So I worked with a lot of the partners that we have statewide as well as locally to put this presentation together. And it deals with 4 separate issues: revenue and expenses, vendor relationships, financial tools, and marketing. And so there's 3 recommendations for each of those, going from how are you doing your revenue projections, to invoicing, to inventory management, finding new business efficiencies, trying to strengthen your relationships or renegotiate contracts with vendors. There's a ton of financial tools that are available that are typically not utilized. Lines of credit are a great thing, especially, if you're a kind of a high cash flow business. Lines of credit, you don't pay interest on what you don't use, so it's much better than a loan. So these are all things that, we're gonna try to promote to our businesses. So if you go to the 8th slide, these are links to all of the different things that we encourage our businesses to look at. Some of these are webinars that we've done. For instance, there's one, Learn About Social Media is one that we did with an influencer last year. And so we've, taken all of this work that we've done over the last 2 or 3 years for business support and now consolidated it into this, 8-page document. And then there's some potential ideas that we can do, and that's on the last page there. From social media to networking to economic studies, we have to pivot, right? If we have to at least be prepared to pivot. If there's a economic downturn, business support is going to be essential, as we saw when this organization was established 5 years ago. And so Richard asked this in an executive committee meeting this week. I think this document gives us a really good starting point. But most of you are small business owners, you're community leaders. Take a month, look this over, think about what could be added, best practices, reach out to me directly. But by June, I would love to have your input, and then we can put this in play, via our social media channels and our website, so that this could be something that we can provide to our businesses. So that's I don't think I've ever assigned homework before, but this is your homework assignment for the month.
But shouldn't these just be best practices for all businesses? I mean, it really doesn't make sense that you would tie it to national politics like tariffs. I mean, obviously, I would address it in such a way that you're not being political in it, that you're.
It's not a question of being political, it's just the reality of the environment, that if in fact the economic environment changes, it's not a political, it's not political.
That's my point.
It's an if, I agree.
But it's, no, we can talk to the public?
No, not right now.
Okay, I'm just
Well,
not
Steve-
following what's happening.
But Steve.
My
what
point is these are best practices. I'm all for helping informing and educating and communicating, which doesn't seem to be done in many years in this town, all the way from Historical Preservation Committee through other things. I think it's better to have a message of unity, and these are best practices if there is a business downfall or economic downturn, et cetera, not tie it to the word tariffs. I didn't mention the word tariffs, Steve did, you did. So from that standpoint, our Explore Millburn should be apolitical.
Well, I think you can be apolitical without being obtuse, right? I think if you're a restaurant that is importing goods from Italy, it's your reality.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that it's more expensive to import that good is because of a tariff. And so,
Well, or you can also say, what do you do for successes of lower energy prices, of less
Sure.
regulation, of lower interest rates, et cetera, et cetera? Where does it stop?
well,
That's my point.
No, and I think it's a fair point, but I think that, what we're looking at right now is what is the major shock to the system that businesses are most likely going to feel in the next 6 months? It's, yes, are energy rates too high? Absolutely. But when the price of that cheese that you buy for your pizza goes up by 40%, there's a reason that it went up by 40%, and you're going to feel it real soon. And your consumers, right, because we talk to businesses who've said that they are seeing people be a lot more conservative with their spending. Because I think people are in a waiting pattern right now to find out if their car costs $16,000 more than it used to, right? And these are economic realities. It has nothing to do with whether I support Donald Trump
Right,
or not.
but they're
But-
also waiting to see if interest rates, interest paid on car purchases bought in the United States go down, go away, are deductible. I'm just saying that why are we making a political call when this can be done in a great fashion, in a very methodical, good communication and education for best practices for businesses versus tying it to the word tariffs?
Okay, so so if it's not tariffs, you want to say inflation? I mean,
Well,
the food inflation, or what, it's obvious
Or is
things.
that not real either?
Well,
You know,
Or-
like,
or is that
Chair,
political
can I-
also?
I think we may have gotten ahead of ourselves a little bit. Steve, I think something you told me that clarified things. Are you getting feedback from our businesses as of recently that that there's a group of businesses that are concerned about their business? and
Yeah, I mean,
what's going
let
on?
me give you an
I mean,
example.
I mean,
So-
is there a sentiment right now that prompted this?
yes, and so today I was looking at a business that we work with, I'm not gonna mention them. But I happened on their Google reviews, and I said, what is the Google review? I've been to this place 100 times, what does the Google review say? And they got a bunch of negative Google reviews
Right.
because of the cost of some of their items. One was a walnut cream cheese that they put on their food. And people were complaining that the cost of this cream cheese was really high, and they felt like they got ripped off. And the owner responded and said, well, it's the cost of the walnut. The cost of my walnut cream cheese has gone up 8 times. Okay, so you as a business owner need to say, well, am I selling enough of this to substantiate buying it, right? Should I even be carrying it? Or if it's so expensive that people are complaining, is it hurting my business's reputation? Now, it's not going up because the walnut farmers are getting greedy, right? There's inflation, there's, I don't know where you get your walnuts from. I don't know if they're tariffed, maybe they're not, they probably come from California. Maybe there's not enough people to pick them anymore, but that could be it too. But either way, right, you have to make a business decision, and we include that in this, about looking at your inventory and saying, am I charging a price that's untenable for my customer? Maybe I shouldn't carry that anymore. So these are all, real world on the ground issues that, we can certainly soften the language, Ben, if you feel like if it's controversial. But I think the core reality is it's going to get much more expensive for people to do business in the next 6 months for a variety of factors. Whether it costs more money now on an interest rate to purchase a car is not necessarily the same as how much it costs to put cheese on pizza.
I agree, but I'm just saying that let's be apolitical as we do the rollout of this program. I'm all for this program, and such. I think it is anything we can do to help businesses understand how to operate their business in a booming economy or a not so booming economy. However, I just want to make sure it's not politicized.
Yeah, and I think there's a correlation too to, when I first started here, it was during COVID. We were getting calls all the time for people looking for workers. That was an external factor, right? There was a whole host of reasons that people weren't working in low-skilled menial jobs. That's gone away now. Why has it gone away? Because nobody's getting their COVID checks, right? Schools are back in session, so kids can go back and people don't have to worry about health care, or childcare, I should say. And so, yeah, there's these external factors that they're political, they're realistic, they're supply chain oriented, they're weather oriented. You have a bad storm, and look at Hurricane Katrina. Gas prices went up to $4 a gallon because you couldn't get any gas in. And so there's all these factors that happen, and I think right now we're just in a period where cost of goods is extremely high, and if we just want to keep it at cost of goods is high, that's fine with me.
I think the larger point is that it's not just like, is there a specific thing that you can do to combat tariffs? Is there a specific thing that you can do to combat inflation or deflation or whatever, right? So I think it's the specificity, and rather just saying, right, the economic down, because your reaction isn't necessarily different based on inflation and tariffs, right? They both cause the same issue. So maybe that's what it is. It's maybe just sort of having more generic language than being specific. I don't know that either one stirs up, because if we said inflation, 7 months ago, would that have been political? I think that in the end, just eliminating the specificity, the issue is the issue.
Yeah, it's the economy, stupid, right, is the old expression, and
Well, and it's not,
You know.
your introduction here is good, right? When facing economic uncertainty and market volatility, here are these proactive steps. I think that's good.
Yeah, and that's
can
what I
say-
said, I
yeah.
love the whole idea of resilient business and securing your future and such. All I'm saying is don't marry it to politics. It's
well,
just
I
not
think
needed.
this is a great conversation for this organization because we are the economic development group for the town,
Right.
and I think it's great that we're having a really diplomatic and smart discussion about this. So I want to continue this in June,
Yeah.
when you all do your homework.
We'll read this and give you more
Yes.
feedback. But I can tell you, Restaurant Depot, we can't, there's many things we can no longer buy there. It's very hard, even those plastic clamshells, you would be shocked at all of the
Yeah.
pieces that go in, I mean,
It's so many changes.
yeah,
so many
changes,
things
but
every day.
prices are, it's challenging. It
And we-
really
and we
is. So
also-
we're feeling it.
And we also talked, maybe at a previous meeting about maybe trying to develop a chat group, you know,
Yeah.
for our businesses where we can communicate very quickly, you know?
Good idea.
Yeah, in other words, in a lot of industries, including in jewelry, we have industry chat groups where messaging goes out immediately, when when we need to get a message across, and it's on your phone, so people see it right away. But I'm thinking, that would be a great project maybe for one of our new hires.
It's one of the suggestions on the page. I think it would be great, yeah.
Yeah, to
Well,
go around
yeah.
to our businesses, to get people on a chat group, so God forbid if there is a downturn, something, it's kind of like, I'm thinking like when we had Ida hit and and this organization sprung into action and Steve was on the streets and helping everybody. I think we wanna be able to do that again if something happens.
I can tell you that sort of messaging group is invaluable, especially when things are uncertain. During COVID, having a manager's listserv was invaluable. So you know what each community is looking at, what the challenges are, and you can put out suggestions and things like that. So they find clamshells for $1 cheaper than everybody else, put it on there, everybody will go.
That's what I was just thinking, whether or not, you're buying 5,000 square foot of aluminum foil. I'm sure you're using it, and you're using it, and Lestrada's using it, and maybe there's a way
Right.
to say, okay, so if we organize for our, 20 restaurant users, and we're not each buying 5,000 roll, we're buying 100 rolls, maybe there's a way to scale that makes,
And then if you had, I'm sorry, Chair, but then again, if you had that, you could also have a small business motivational person, influencer, talk about some of this. Like, it could be like a daily message. I'm just saying, like, if there was a downturn, I'm not saying why there'd be a downturn, but if there was, and people were
It's
suffering.
good to be ready, and these are great
Yeah,
ideas.
yeah, I mean, you'd have a chat group, you'd have a motivational person, we could put this on there, and, and Alex could be there too, but they need somebody, they need some local help. So-
I forgot to say, we're bringing in chickens in the backyard of Splurge, just for eggs. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, for the record.
No roof,
Just follow the ordinance, Steve.
yes, I was just gonna say that we
no
have an
hens,
ordinance.
No hens, right?
Choose applesauce.
But
Yeah, for real.
not males.
Choose applesauce.
Steve, are you done?
Yeah.
I am done.
Okay, so I had two other comments. One is, the common lot. I mean, there's a lot of things. The gentleman's leaving to go back to Australia. Who owns that property? I've had 5 calls for restaurants who wanna go in there. Who owns that property and who should they contact?
I would say send them my way first.
Okay,
So the owner of Common Lot is Erin Ryan, is part of a larger consortium that owns that lot and some adjacent ones. If you have folks that are interested, send them my way,
okay,
and then we can funnel them.
okay, we'll do. And then the second one is, in no way does the Explorer condone animals being put in those mill wheels, I'm sure, right?
Only if they look cute while doing it.
No, he had the picture of the animal in the mill wheel when it gets its head ripped off. This one here.
Only, they can't be intoxicated.
I can put a waiver together for you, Steve.
Okay.
I did have one thing more to mention that I should have reported on, and I apologize. Is it okay if I do so, Chair?
Yes, by all means.
So I failed to mention that unfortunately, June 1st starts hurricane season. And the township held its annual hurricane preparedness meeting on May 14th. And, just want for the businesses as well to start creating their plan, their idea, of what to do in preparation. There's a lot of information on the township's website under flooding, under flood mitigation advisory committee. as well as the presentation that we put on this year. So just wanted to remind everybody, unfortunately, the report from NOAA came out on today, I believe. Yep. And so they are expecting a more than active Atlantic season. So just awareness. Everybody be prepared.
Well, you will not be surprised by this, but we do have a business hurricane preparedness kit on our website to prepare your site, including your finances. And so
I'm not surprised by that.
I encourage everyone to go do that, and we will be sending that out in our weekly email correspondence.
And I'm wondering if the township could have a link to the Explore link on their page,
Oh, definitely.
if that's possible. Okay.
I think, how many times last year did we have to sandbag it? I know the once, at Taste Buddy and at Tonino's. A couple times?
Just in case. Just in case.
Great.
Uh,
Yeah.
That's my report.
Okay, we are at the portion in our meeting where we will accept public comment. The public is invited to provide comments and ask questions at this point in the meeting. Clearly state your name and speak into the microphone, and limit comments to 3 minutes. Prepared statements may be sent to steve@exploremillburnshorthills.org. Please remember, this is a business meeting, and professional decorum must be maintained. If a speaker engages in disorderly conduct that disrupts the meeting or is meant to intimidate attendees, they will be asked to cease their public comments. All comments must be directed to me, the chair, and at the conclusion of public comment, members of the board may respond or ask staff or our attorney to do so. Staff and the attorney will not answer questions without a request from board members. Okay, I'll now open public comment. Please go to the lectern.
Are you raising your hand, Rich, because you're sitting?
Yeah, I'm just gonna talk right from here.
Well, why don't we just go to the podium? Thank you.
You have to ask permission to go to the bathroom, too.
I can put it on my phone if you want. Okay.
I'm Jeffrey Feld from the Poet section. I have really two aspects of my comments. The first is regarding your audit. When you compare your monthly statement and when you go to the revenues, I'm trying to figure out to trace where, like, when you had the downtown closure and you got expenditures, monies, is that reflected in your audit? Is that in the private contributions? Because if there's a separate line when you prove your monthly expenses. Also, beginning on the statements, it talks about a special district levy. I understand that there's a special district assessment. I don't know why the word levy was used. And then when you talk about subsequent events, someone had to make a determination that BP2, which is a subsequent event, is not material. I mean, someone earlier this evening called it frivolous, but I don't know if that, someone had made a determination that that's not a disclosed material term. There were comments about the costs incurred. I don't know if the board was told that I made a proposal that everyone stand still until the judge decides BP1. Your counsel rejected that offer. So that should be clear to you. Also, there's a lot of cases law that's come out since April 28th is when you filed the motion. There's a case that came from the state Supreme Court talking about municipal entities could be subject to frivolous litigation sanctions. It's not just always against an individual, but municipal entities, which you are deemed to be, could be subject to frivolous litigation sanctions. That was the Engel Cliffs case. There was an opinion that came out today about attorney behavior. What is deceitful, willful behavior? If you attended the argument on Bear Properties 1, Attorney Cantor made a misrepresentation to the court, and the court picked that up. You should understand what's also occurred. When this entity was created, during COVID, the ordinance was passed, and there was a notice for the funding, the 50% perpetual funding for the executive director's salary. That was not disclosed in the notice or the adoption of the ordinance. There's questions about due process. We're hearing that every day with the United States Supreme Court. Whereas the taxpayer is given due process notice about the perpetual funding of his salary. There's a case that came out involving Jersey City Municipal Authority in the last few weeks, talking about how you look at a contract and the perpetual area of it. These are things. Well, I'm just saying, the word frivolous was thrown out. I've been in this room almost every night this week. Major things happened on Tuesday where people said, well, my ideas about the pilot, Mr. Feld, you're crazy, you don't know the facts, you don't know the law. I know what the town council did on Tuesday night. I also know what happened last night with the High Center application. Everyone says, everyone attacks, and especially what happened on May 6th, talking about my character, integrity, and professional competence. I'm saying stand still, let the judge decide Bear Properties 1 before we proceed on Bear Properties 2. That offer was made and you rejected it.
Start the timer. Okay.
258.
I got plenty of time. Richard Seibert, Millburn resident. In business, there's some things that you can control, and there's some things that you can't control. You can't control when the insurance company raises your insurance rates. You can't control when the state makes you pay more per hour for your employees. So you have to be prepared when you're in business to, there's all kinds of things that can happen. Did you ever think about going to the landlords of the town and asking them to lower their rents if things get rough for tenants? It seems like a good idea. Restaurant week. How many days is a restaurant week? 7. So as a business owner, not now, but when I was, and the Chamber of Commerce would come in and ask me for money, and I would ask him, well, what are you going to do for me? He said, well, I'll make sure that nobody gives you a bad name or will promote you or whatever. I have a suggestion for restaurant week, if I owned a restaurant. So it's open 7 days a week. How many restaurants are participating? Can she answer? I'm just gonna, it's a good thing what I'm gonna say. Let's just say there's 21 restaurants. I would say to a restaurant owner, Monday is your day. This way they don't have to prepare flights for 7 days. On Monday was their day. And send as many people to that restaurant on that day. And then Tuesday, and then Wednesday, and Thursday. And then a restaurant would feel it because a lot of people would come that day. Actually, there would be 3 different, each day would have 3 restaurants. And it'd be like a rotation, like you just said. And then I, as a restaurant owner, would be like, wow, Monday's my day. I'm going to get ready. I'm going to make sure I have a lot of flights or special. And I don't have to worry about it 7 days in a row that there's going to be people, and I have to do all this and maybe sell, maybe not sell. Because restaurants, when they get up in the morning, all they think about is making money. How much money am I going to pay my bills? Do I have enough? Anyway. That's all.
Thank you.
I guess it's my turn.
Thank you, Mr. Seibert.
Hi, Vicky Powell, business owner. A couple things. One, I have to tell you, besides the Girls' Night Out promotions in the social media, your Ari, that's been doing her videos, fabulous. You guys are really hitting it out of the park with social media. It's not only focusing on just the events, but it's focusing on everything about the district. So that's very good. Second, Alex, you're usually never here, so now I got you.
Oh, man.
We really have a parking issue, especially on Millburn Avenue with the business owners parking all day long. I know we discussed this a couple months ago that the meter gentleman, the parking enforcement, has the ability to look at the license plates and we can, whatever. I think we need to really work on that because it's really bad. And now that the weather's nice, people are coming into town and you're taking spots away. It's the manicurist that's parking in lot 5 or whatever that lot is, the one by Town Hall. It's on Millburn Avenue. We really need to get enforcement out there. They're taking away business from us, and business is hard enough as it is. And then lastly, going to my point, something was recently brought to my attention today that happened onto one of these social sites that the town has it, like a Happy Millburn, but it's not on Happy Millburn, but it's besides the point. Somebody asked for a recommendation of something in town. What is your favorite, we'll say, place to get a hammer? And the people recommended all the businesses that were out of the town, not in Millburn, when we have our own hardware store in town. My point being is, and the person that owns that business had questioned that and said, you know, I don't understand. I am the only hardware store in town. Why aren't you coming to my business? So the point being is, clearly there's still an issue with the residents in town not coming to support their own town. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the organization can do, but something needs to, the messaging needs to be put out there, whether it's a flyer or a postcard, directing them to something. But for them to say 7 hardware stores outside of the town and not the one that we have here, it's shameful. And how can we continue to work and support the businesses and be asked to do donations, and they don't come and support our own businesses? It's not right, and I don't know what the answer is, but this was shocking to me, and it's wrong. I mean, I've been here for 40 years. I still have people coming to my store. I've been here for 20 years. I've never been in here before. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, you don't have to come and buy a card or whatever. You need to support your own town, and I don't see it happening, and I don't know what the organization can do, but today's message was a wake-up call. Sorry. That's it.
Thank you, Vicki. Well, we have no Zoom option, so at that point, I think you're duly noted with respect to parking and duly noted with respect to shop local, right?
Just 2 responses.
Okay.
Mr. Feld asked a question about is money that was allocated by the town for Town Hall Plaza reflected in the audit. I'm not going to speak specifically because I don't have the top of my head, but for the most part, that money was not given to us. It was paid to order things like the gazebos and things like that. So it never touched our books. That was just an agreement with the township, so it wouldn't show up on our audit. As for Vicki, we are going to be rolling out, actually in partnership with CETA, a shop local campaign that's going to be in multiple languages. And hopefully that we will be able to communicate this shop local message to various ethnic groups in town and try to describe that.
And when we say shop local, that means Millburn Short Hills, not local Summit, Livingston.
Right.
It should be shop
Yeah,
local, don't go to
truly.
Summit, yeah.
Well, because people think local, not New York City, but all the,
Millburn.
really shop.
Milburn Short Hills, yeah,
Yeah,
Milburn
maybe-
Short Hills.
Maybe it has to say shop local, Millburn Short Hills. Yeah, maybe-
Well, it is our theme, explore Milburn Short Hills, and I think, point taken that we have to be hyper vigilant about that issue. Let me ask you a couple of things. This thing with the parking, do you think we should, well, you've mentioned this a few times, so it's obviously top of mind. Is there something that you think we should be doing differently? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
So
Can we start with putting it in the business downturn, what we do to keep customers coming in, and can maybe put that on page 1?
absolutely. The fact is that, so, it is very difficult for the town to say, well, you can't park, right? It has got to be a philosophy of those that own businesses that they want that parking spot in front of their business to be free, that they want to park in the deck and walk so that there's more parking spaces in front of their business. It's very because parking, if you park and you pay, it's not illegal. The only thing you can do, and Steve and I have had these conversations, is you can create a registration for every single business and require them to buy parking permits and charge a fee for that registration, so that we have tabs on every single business that needs to buy parking permits. It is that, that's always a possibility. It's a heavy lift for sure, but there are other advantages to doing that. But I'm just, but just saying that somebody's parking in front of the store is not illegal. It's not, there's. If they're over the time, correct, that's illegal. But,
From 9 o'clock until 5 o'clock, is that over the time?
Well, they can go over and pay again and again.
no, they shouldn't be able to, they shouldn't be able to,
In the same spot, it's not allowed.
correct.
It's illegal.
Well, how do they know if you're in the?
Well, you mark the tire, you look at the license plate.
Isn't that what you guys said months ago?
Yeah, but again, you can, the problem is that they can then move to another zone. So if they're not moving, then that's certainly something that can be addressed. But just parking, and if they park within the time limit, they pay for the parking, it's not illegal.
But if I park to go into dinner, which I do quite a bit, and I'm in there for 2.5, 3 hours, and
That's after 6 o'clock.
well, say lunch, say lunch. If I see my meters running down, I go out and I hit the thing again.
But she's not, Vicky's not talking about that. She's talking about,
Some manicures is coming in at 9 o'clock in the morning, and is not leaving until 7 o'clock at night, and is parking in lot 5 all day long, and that's my manicure.
Got it,
So
got it.
I've already had that discussion with her and gotten in an argument with her. It's the, you know, the restaurant lady that just came back from vacation is parking in front of my store all day long.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you don't have parking enforcement, that only comes once a week. I mean, I never see the guy come around. I saw him once last week. He got hurt, but it's not consistent, and it's deterring people from shopping. Those spots on Millburn Avenue should be able to go voom, voom, voom. People go in and out and get their
I
thing and
agree,
leave.
100%.
But not when the gray car's sitting there all day long, especially on a rainy day. It's not right.
Can I make a suggestion? When we had our business in Orange, like we have the community policing, it's very important sometimes policemen just to walk like the downtown, greet the people, and then be able to observe sometimes, there's always a pattern or certain cars.
We've done that too. We've talked to certain business owners. The police department has gone in there, traffic bureau has gone in there, talked to certain business owners that park directly in front of their property. But I think that certainly what you're describing, Ms. Powell, is something that can be addressed, so.
may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Next meeting?
Yes. The next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, June 26th at 6:30 PM.
Don't forget your homework.
And we all have our homework assignment?
Can you send that by email so we have it?
It is.
Yeah, you should have it in the email I sent you with the package.
Yeah,
got it.
it's there.
If you don't have it, just ask and I'll resend it.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Good night, all.